רבים מדי שמתו בעקבות נטילת סמים ובעקבות ערבוב של סמים ואלכוהול, וזה חלק עגום ולא פשוט לי.
Welkom alle kijkers bij dit programma van Israël CNN. We hebben onlangs al een programma gemaakt, een introductie van Rabbijn Moshe Pelek. En Rabbijn Moshe Pelek heeft wat verteld over zijn achtergrond, over de leefwereld als een ultra-orthodox Jood in Mea Shearim. Maar de reden waarom ik eigenlijk hier zit met de Rabbijn is omdat ik hem ken van een ongelooflijk en een bijzonder geweldig project. Exact in het hart van Jeruzalem. Een project wat heel hard nodig is. In Jeruzalem gaat het allemaal niet zo goed. Wat we de afgelopen jaren hebben gezien, een toename van gebruik van drugs, een toename van gebruik van alcohol onder jongeren, seculiere jongeren, maar ook meisjes die bijvoorbeeld door loverboys, Arabische loverboys, worden verleid en in een Arabische dorpen komen en uiteindelijk allemaal hulp nodig hebben. Moshe Pelek, Rabbijn Moshe Pelek, of zoals ze hem noemen in Jeruzalem, Rav Pelek, is bezig om deze meisjes te helpen en te redden. Ik ben bij hem geweest op het project diverse malen en ik ben ongelooflijk onder de indruk van de manier ook hoe hij dit allemaal doet. En met hem wil ik vandaag gaan praten over wat is zijn werk, wat doet hij. Welkom, Rav Pelek.
Thank you very much.
What is the name of your center?
My center called Shorashim Center.
What is the meaning of Shorashim?
Shorashim, it means roots.
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 Why roots?
Why not? Like a good Jew, I'm always answering with a question. I'm joking.
Okay.
Because I think that if a person is not connected to his roots, to a more spiritual life, you can't help.
Can you explain in a short sentence what you are doing?
So we are teaching people that are at risk, youth that are at risk, we are teaching them that there is a goal, that there is a reason why they were created into this world. And because there is a reason, they have to look for the reason why they were created. And they have to use their talent, they have to use their potential that they have in themselves. I'm trying to give them confidence in themselves. That they will know that because there is a goal, they have to use everything and to take their life up.
So the message is for the children, you are not without a reason on this earth.
Exactly.
There is a God.
Exactly.
And He is giving you a chance to make a choice in life.
Exactly.
What I see is that, and I've heard sometimes stories, testimonies from girls who are so with respect about you, what you're doing. But you seem sometimes for some people, and you are here in the Netherlands and you did some, organized some meetings and you're telling, I'm a little strange rabbi. Why?
Let's say that I'm not a very conventional rabbi in the way that I'm rehabilitating this youth. I mean, I'm taking a lot from the Jewish wisdom and the Jewish sources, and it's not always fits to the modern Western psychology. The biggest psychologist in the world for me is Rabbi Nachman from Breslov. He was a very, very big scholar that was living 300 years ago. And the simple advices that he was giving, I had such a big experience that it helped people, it helped youth that had a lot of problems and that they, they were going to many psychologists, none of them helped them. So it's not always, if you're talking with a Western psychologist, and wow, what's that, you know?
Okay, this is the way of counseling that you're doing.
Exactly.
But before we're going to talk about it, and you're giving some examples, what are the people, the girls at risk? What happens in Jerusalem? Are there secular girls or also Orthodox from the background?
From every background.
And what is the age?
The ages are usually from 15 up to 25.
And what are
This is the main.
can you give some problems, what they are having in their lives?
It depends, it's very, very personal, but sometimes it's just a teenager rebellion, feelings that the girl has. She's living like in Tiberia or Tzfas or whatever, leaving her parents' home, hanging down the street, Ben Yehuda Street, that it's near my center, like Kikar Zion Square, and so on, sleeping in an independent garden, and waiting for mercy of others, sometimes Arabs that are coming and giving them food or whatever, listening to them, to the problems, and then taking them with them to the villages, lock them in a room or in an apartment and making them slaves.
Moshe, I know from my experience and my visits that some girls are so talking about you and what you have done with them. And maybe you can explain a little bit about in your center what you are doing. If somebody's coming, how are you going to help? Because people are asking always for help, but you are helping them and it works. For example, you told me a story about this crying girl. What happens? Can you tell a little bit? Because I think it's a good explanation what your type of style is to work.
I think that first of all, when I'm receiving a girl for an interview, I'm telling her straight on the table, I'm telling her, look, if you are coming here to build your life, to see pink, to see your life pink, to take your potential and to be successful and to get into a normative life, that will be the best place that will give you tools for that. But if you're coming here for a bed and breakfast, and you want only a place at the center of Jerusalem, just to go down to, like pubs and to continue hanging down and doing bad things, and this is only a shelter for a jumping point for you to the street, that's not the place. I can show you the worst things here in Jerusalem that you even doesn't know about them. But it's not a place for you. You will not feel, it won't fit. So it depends. Either you want to live up and to be successful and to have a happy life, to make a family, to build a family, and to be happy, or you want to live in the garbage. So sometimes it's the first time for youth specifically, like young girls, that somebody is putting in the front of their eyes, on a scale, it's either this or either that. Either to be happy or to live like in a garbage, right? So for them it's a shock. It's the first time that they have to really face it and to decide in which way they want to go. And for me it doesn't matter where she's at now. She can be at the bottom of the bottom. She can be on the floor, she can be in the street. Alcoholic, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it matters here what she's planning for her life. And if she has a will, or if at least she has a will to have a will, to build a will for a healthy life. I'm helping them to build an inner will to build their lives. And after I'm receiving a girl, that's the way that I'm dealing with. The story that you mentioned before, it shows maybe a little bit about the unconventional way of treatment that, if you show this TV film to a modern Western psychologist, wow, yes, there's one came out, terrible, how dared he? But one of the things that I learned, that I had from experience too, is that if somebody is in a very, very deep problem, if you don't shake his whole entity, his whole world, his whole way of looking at things, you can't really take him out. There was a girl that came to me one night when I was one leg outside there. I wanted to go home.
Maybe to tell the people that are watching now, Moshe is sleeping 3 hours a day. He is working, and you can phone him for 24 hours every day.
Except Shabbat.
Except, yes. Okay, not on Shabbat.
And so I'm sleeping a little
and when we had, because if you're saying that you are planning to go home, it's maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I was really ready to go home, a girl entered to my office, sat behind the table, a girl that I never saw her before, and she started to cry. And she's crying, and I was waiting that she will stop. And she continued crying. And I was waiting, and she continued crying. And I was waiting, and she continued crying. And I thought of myself, for how long a person can cry? And she continued crying. And I looked at my watch, I said, and she continued crying. So I felt that she's in a very, very deep crisis now. And I need to do something to shock her, to take her out, like, to take her out in her mind from this crisis that she's at. So I started to laugh. So I laughed, and she was crying, and I laughed stronger. And when she saw that I'm laughing, probably she got offended. Why the rabbi is laughing? So she was laughing stronger. So I was crying stronger, louder. So she was crying louder. So I was laughing louder, and she was really tears, She got so hurt from my laughing. She was crying, and it became like a competition between us, Who is going to either cry or laugh louder? And then probably what happened was that, like, she got offended, So probably what happened was that she became confused. I mean, what's going on with this strange creature that is sitting at the other side of the table, this rabbi? Why is laughing at me? I mean, there is no reason why to laugh at a person that is crying, that is in pain. So she started to get confused and to make breaks among the crying. So, so she started to ask, I want to know why the Rav is laughing. I said, and I want to know, why are you crying? She said, no, I want to know why the Rav is laughing. I said, and I want to know, why are you crying? So she got really messed up with all of this. And she just stopped to cry. And she said, okay, she said, I'm crying because the world is, I won't repeat the one word with 4 letters that she said. So she said, and now I want to know why the Rav was laughing. So I said, wow, unbelievable, I said. You was crying because of that? I was laughing because of the same reason. Because the world was, and I repeated exactly the word, the unclean word that she said. Why? Because to show her the same strength, right, that brought her to cry, from the same place came my laughing, my laugh. So she got totally shocked. She stopped crying and she said, is this a reason why to laugh? If the world is like this? I said, sure. So she said, how come? So I said, if the world is like this, at least enjoy it. She got totally shocked. She stood up, turned her back, and went out. After half a year, a girl entered to my center and came to me and said, Rabbi, do you remember me? Do you recognize me? I looked at her. I see a lot of people. First looking, I didn't recognize her. And then suddenly, oh, you know, like the coin, the token. I said, oh, I said, you are the crying girl, right? So she was smiling and she said, yes, I'm the crying girl. So I said, no, how are you now? So she said, I'm fine and I came to speak to you. So I said, okay, welcome. You are welcome to enter to my office. She entered to my office and she said, look, I want to tell her a story, she said. At that day that I came to you crying, she said, I wanted to commit suicide. It was after a long process of a lot of pain that I passed in my life. And it was very hard for me. I couldn't see any hope. I couldn't see any light. I couldn't see anything good that can be happened for my life. So I had a friend that I opened my heart to her for a long time, and I spoke with her again and again and again. Nothing helped. So I told my friend, look, I'm planning to commit suicide, and she really gave up already from me, and she, you know, like she couldn't anymore handle it. And she said, look, you can do whatever you want, but you know that there is a center here, you know, like 50 meters from here. There is this unconventional rabbi. You know, speak with him first, and after that, do whatever you want. You know, with your life. It's you know, you're responsible for your life. So she decided to come, to speak with me, to get out, and to commit suicide. She said, okay, no, but I see you alive. I'm asking her. So she said, yes, she said, I came to thank you. You changed the way of looking at things.
If I will say in a way that what we see in the Netherlands, and not everybody's doing this, but sometimes you see that people have problems and then they're going to a place or people are helping and always talking about the problems and, oh, you are so sad and we are so sorry for you, and they're always staying in this process, but you are doing it. For example, there are some cases that people are abused by family or something. You have a very strange way for some people to handle this. What is your message to these people?
Look, a girl that was abused by her older brother since she was 6 years old till 14, just got raped. Just unbelievable. Can you imagine? How can she live? You know, she came very depressed and very tense and she was like a wild horse when she entered to my seminar. And when something happened, I called her to my office and I said, what's going on with you? What's going on with your behavior? What is it? So she said, Rabbi, I'm sorry, but you can understand, my past was like this, and you know my past, and you know what I was going through in my life, you know all the pain and all the problems that I had in my life, so what do you want from me? How can you expect, you know, me to behave and to be like everybody else? So I have these problems. So I started to shout at her, and I said, I don't care about your past. And who cares about your past? You're a nice girl, you're pretty, you're intelligent, you have an incredible potential, you're an intelligent girl. You have all the ability, all the potential to be the best. To take responsibility for your life in your hand from this second. You know? If you want to cry for your past and it's preventing you from developing and from progressing towards your future, terrible. And it's your fault. So get out from my room now, and after you will sit and think of your life. If you want to really start living, I don't care, nobody has to care about it. Don't blame anybody, even your older brother. Don't blame him.
Can you imagine that some people will, when they see this
change?
Yeah, but can you imagine that some people will say, this rabbi, he's really a very strange rabbi?
So I'm offering them to come and to get consultants.
And that is in a way a teaching from this Rabbi Nachman from 300 years ago, to confront people But you have also dormitories, 4 dormitories,
Exactly.
and you're living from faith. I heard stories like, wow, this is really a man of faith, a believer in Hashem and the God of Israel, because you're telling me stories that if you want to pay bills, there is no money, and suddenly exact amount is coming in an envelope, but always the tension about to survive and all to pay all the bills.
This is terrible, you know. For the past 2 months, I had more than 70 girls that were knocking at our doors to give them shelter, and I didn't have money for that. I knew that they are going to remain at the street.
How many girls do you have now?
I don't have many. I have 30-something in our dormitories, and we are in contact with another maybe 100 girls that are not sleeping by us, but are coming to take part in programs.
And what I know is that you are giving also some teachings from the Torah, also to give them skills to have a good job later, so you're helping them. And it's also interesting to know the story, and that how many girls are married now?
More than 260.
You help them?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were part of building their homes.
Girls at risk who are helped by you or by your team, they will be later volunteers. You have volunteers now?
So many times it's either they are helping me or I'm sending them to other places to be a madrichim. I don't know how to say it, like a counselor.
Yeah, to help to counsel.
To help to counsel, or to be like a guide. A guide?
Yeah, a guide.
Like
to help them
exactly.
to help them in making decisions and advice.
Exactly.
What do you see for the future in Jerusalem for your work? And I know that you're always busy to survive financially, and that is really some problem. But what do you see happen now in Jerusalem? Because what I see and what I understand from you, that the situation is terrible with the girls on the streets, but also the boys. But that's for another program, maybe, and not for now.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm not a prophet. I don't know if you noticed it. But it's very, very painful what I see. Maybe because the center is located right at the front, at the center of the problems. So you are in touch all the time with problems. So you don't see the real big picture of what's around. So sometimes it's very painful. It's more painful than maybe the whole picture that you see. A person has to do whatever he can do according to his ability. You know, I had faith, and I thought that because I was created to this world, I have something to do, a mission to do, I have a job that I have to fulfill. I want to give to society. I decided to take my free choice to choose to do good, to give to the world, to be a donating person instead of receiving person. You know, like to give to the world, and if people want to become partners, welcome.
When do you believe that the solution will be? After the Messiah will be in Jerusalem or before?
What the solution?
Yeah, that there is no problem anymore.
Again, I'm not a prophet. I have to take care right now on a very, very from materialistic things till, you know, to take care of people that I'm responsible of, the lowest, from their lenses in their shoes, you know, till to build their spirituality and you know, the most important things of their lives, personality, to develop their personality and to give them tools for life. And that's what I'm concerned now. What God will decide to do is, at the future, it's God's business, you know.
Yeah. I am very impressed by what you're doing. I want to say Toda Rabba again for your sharing, but also for your work. I have seen it. I have heard the testimonies of girls. I know how you live. I know that you're not rich, that you are poor, that you give everything away. Sometimes too much, maybe, according to your family. But you are dedicated to help these girls, and sometimes the girls are very different than we expect, and I am impressed, and I really see the bracha, the blessing on your life, on your ministry, on your center what you're doing. And it's an honor to meet you and to see what you're doing, and we hope that we as believers in the Netherlands can pray for your work. That's also important. That's what we heard. Words are important, but that also there will become some finances or something for it. I'm very thankful, and I see you next year in Jerusalem.
Thank you very much. And if people are coming to Israel, we are willing and we'll be happy to host.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
כשאתם יוצאים לעיר, אתם יוצאים לרקוד. ליהנות עם חברים. לשתות. ולפעמים גם להכיר אנשים חדשים. אבל יש אנשים שבשבילם לצאת בבריכה. כי אין להם מסגרת. כי אין להם בית. אז אנחנו עוזרות עם בנות מהגיל 18, בנות שנפרדו חלק ממסגרות בית הוריהן. אנחנו מקבלות אותם לראות שם בתוך אהבה, בתוך מקום של אי שיפוטיות. אנחנו עוזרות להם להתעצם ולחזור חזרה לחיים החברתיים. יש להם למי להתקשר עם בעיה מסוימת, זה הרבה יותר כיף והרבה יותר מוכר. המקום שמצאתי לי פה זה קודם כל מקום שדוחפים אותך הכי גבוה שאפשר, ובאמת מרדפים אותך וכל הזמן שולחים אותך איך שאתה ומה שאתה, ולא משנה מה באיזה דרך אתה. אני מקווה שבאמת זה יצליח להשתקם ולהמשיך ולעזור לעוד מיליוני בנות, כי אני מכירה, מסביבי יש לי חברות שחוות מקרים כל כך קשים, מקרים שבחורה צעירה לא אמורה לעבור אותם.